Hi everyone, and welcome to the Nitya Legal Monologue on another very interesting issue. The department has started issuing notices to exporters who have been claiming input stage refund. We believe that it's only a matter of time that the issue spills over to the output stage refund and inverted duty refund as well. So, in this monologue, we'll be covering the background of the issue, the future implications that may arise, our take and way forward, and at the end, we'll be taking live Q&A sessions. So, understanding the background of the issue. So, most of us would be aware that if, under GST, when you are exporting the goods or if you are exporting the services, you have two options. First option is you export without payment of tax under LUT, in which case you can get the refund of unutilized ITC available. The second option is that you export on payment of IGST, in which case the output tax paid, that is IGST, is available as refund. If we are claiming the unutilized ITC when we are exporting the goods under LUT, in that case the application is made in GST RFD 0.1, and the formula for this claiming this refund is as under net ITC, that is ITC availed on goods and services during the month except capital goods, into, in the numerator there is turnover of zero rated supply of goods, zero rated supply of services, and in the denominator we have total adjusted total turnover. So if we see the turnover of supply of goods, it has been defined in the rules itself as the value of zero rated supply of goods made during the relevant period. And similarly, adjusted total turnover has also been defined as the aggregate value of all taxable supplies. Now the issue under consideration is, what is the value of zero rated supply of goods? That is, what value should be considered in the numerator while deriving this refund formula for a month. So in this regard, there is a circular which was issued by the government. The detailed legal provisions will be coming subsequently, but we thought let us understand what the issue department is saying. The department clarified that the zero rated supply, it should be the transaction value under section 15. So just going back in this formula, when they say turnover of zero rated supply of goods and services, the department clarified that it would be the value of the supply. However, if there is any change in the invoice value and the shipping bill value, whatever the lower value out of the two, refund would be processed basis that. And the difference, if you see, maybe on account of terms of sale, exchange rate, etc., that on the date of removal, exchange rate was X, but at the time of export, exchange rate was Y. Therefore, this difference also can result in a different value. Therefore, the government clarified that the lower of the two value would be available. Now, what is important here to note is that in the circular, government never said that the refund should be limited to the FOB value. It only said that if there is a difference in the invoice value and shipping bill value, lower value should be considered. Another important point to note is that in the format of the shipping bill that was amended after introduction of GST, there are specific columns which capture the details of the invoice or the IGST value, the IGST paid, and the refund thereof at output stage. And even in case of LUT, if you are exporting the goods or services, without a payment of tax, in that case also shipping bill does record those values. Now, in November 2020, an internal circular was issued by the department. It referred to a CAG report which stated that if the refund has been granted at a value other than FOB value or in excess of FOB value, then whatever the lower value is, the FOB value in the shipping bill or the invoice value, lower of two should be considered while determining the input stage refund. Let us understand what this circular means with help of an example. So let us say the turnover, the gross turnover of a taxpayer is 500. The net ITC which it had was 200. The invoice value, I'm saying for export, was 150, which had 100 rupees of basic value, 50 rupees as rate. So FOB value in the shipping bill. So if you see the shipping bill that specifically has a column for commercial purpose FOB value, that was recorded as 100. The refund which taxpayers used to normally apply or which the government used to grant was basis the invoice value. That is 150 divided by 500 into 200, which comes out to be 60. If you see the circular, internal circular again, it states that the refund should have been calculated on the FOB value and not the CIF value or the invoice value. So, basis the circular, the refund on the FOB value would be 40 only in the above example. So, the excess refund of 20 has been granted. And basis this internal circular, the department has proceeded to issue notices or denying refunds on this excess refund which we are discussing. And they are saying that only the refund on FOB value would be granted. Another important thing to note here is that the turnover of 500 was computed considering the invoice value of 150. However, by computing or rejecting the refund, the department is not reducing this 50 from the denominator. So they are not saying 100 divided by 450. They are saying the turnover, the total turnover I'll keep same, that is 500, and it's only the export value I'll reduce by 50 rupees of the freight value, that is 100, and I'll limit it to the FOB value. While this position came to the forefront, we also analyzed what the position was under the erstwhile law, because this FOB value or limiting the refund to the FOB value was also prevalent in the erstwhile law. Let us understand why. Under excise law, the excise duty was payable on the transaction value by including the transportation cost up to the place of removal. So there was a different mechanism of computation, the assessable value, and the transportation cost only up to the place of removal was included. The place of removal through various circulars, clarifications, etc. in the case of export was considered as the port of export. So they said that if you are exporting the goods, only the port of export would be considered as the place of removal. Logically, the excise duty was to be payable on the FOB value, and accordingly, even in past, in excise regime, if the taxpayers were exporting the goods paying excise duty on CIF value, the department did not used to clear that. They used to grant rebate only on the FOB value. Here it is important to note that the GST law is worded differently. So as we will be seeing in the subsequent slides, the valuation provision of GST law does not have any limitation of which level will the transportation cost be included. It does not limit or have a concept of place of removal. So all this jurisprudence under excise law or restrictions under excise law, they no longer remain relevant under the GST law. So now understanding what the department used to do under excise law, we also analyzed that what implications or in future, what further disputes that the department may create in this regard. So it may also so happen that in future the department may also demand the excess output stage refund that has been given basis the CIF value. So if we see the logic behind the entire dispute is, in case of exports, if the exports have been done on CIF basis, what is the value of exports? So in case of output stage refund, say if the invoice value is 150, which is the CIF value, and the GST has been paid on 27, FOB value is 100. So presently the refund is granted on the CIF value or the invoice value, which is 27. Department may state no, the refund or the assessable value is actually 100. Therefore, refund of only rupees 18 should have been granted, and therefore the excess refund of 9 has been granted to you, which you return back to us along with interest. A similar point may come for exporters who are also claiming the benefit of input stage refund, let us say for tractor manufacturers. So in that case also, say the invoice value is 150. The GST presently is paid at 5% of 7.5%. FOB value is 100. Refund presently it's granted considering 150 as the inverted duty turnover, because on that the rate of output GST is less than input GST. The department may dispute that no, the value of export should have been considered as 100 instead of 150, and therefore whatever excess refund that you have gotten, you should return that back. So the idea which we are facing is that this issue of valuation for export goods, whether it has to be CIF or FOB, while department presently is focusing on input sales refund, it is a conceptual issue which the industry should analyze, reach to a final conclusion, because it might not take much time for department also to reach other areas. Our take and way forward on the issue. Firstly, as we discussed in the initial slides, the refund formula uses the terms value. And even the circular clarified that this value would be arrived under section 15 of the CGST Act. If we see section 15, it says transaction value should include incidental expenses charged at the time or before delivery. These expenses of freight are nothing but these incidental expenses which are charged for delivery of the goods. And therefore, in our view, freight and insurance do form part of the transaction value and the assessable value which has been defined under section 15. Therefore, the basis on which the internal circular has been issued is incorrect. A second and a notable point which you pointed in the previous slides is that the circular in itself never created a bar that only FOB value should be considered. It created a distinction that if FOB value and the CIF and the shipping bill value are different, if the GST invoice value and the shipping bill value are different, you choose lower. But it is only the internal circular that has created this distinction. So that also, if let us say any objection is raised, a detailed legal reply should be submitted by the taxpayers that for these reasons and these legal provisions, the refund claimed by us was in accordance with law. Now, going forward, as we discussed, because there is an internal circular issue, there are chances that for past as well as for future, the department would dispute the refund formula. In case there is any taxpayers who does not have huge accumulation or who can afford foregoing the refund, for future at least they can revise the refund formula so that they can use the ITC in domestic supplies or in other exports which they are making on payment of GST, so that this dispute is limited to the past. Also, another strong reason for disputing the issue for past is that there will be an interest component involved which would not be there for future issues. Lastly, and I think at this point most importantly, would be that the taxpayers through their trade associations, through industry associations, they file representations that this issue of refund, how the department has interpreted, is grossly incorrect, and accordingly some circular clarifying this issue specifically is issued so that all the disputes or all the fears of the taxpayers are put to rest. So this was our brief on the entire issue which the industry is facing.